Recently, the Fort Hood tragedy took place. The worst, most violent attack on individuals on American soil since 9/11. This was a horrendous event, and it shook the nation. It was worse than Columbine, the Virginia Tech slayings. An Army psychiatrist brought a nightmarish experience into the lives of individuals when he opened fire and either killed or wounded 42 people. Now, I want you to consider what that meant. 42 people. These are individual lives. 14 were killed. You say, well, I heard 13. No, there was 14 because there was an unborn baby that was killed in the womb of a little 21-year-old woman that was killed. And then there were 28 others that were wounded. Think of the lives that had been destroyed as a result of this man. Think of the lives that had been ruined. It's not just these 42 people, but think of the individuals in terms of their spouses, their children. Think of their moms, their dads, destroyed because of one man that went berserk. Now, the media began to report on this, and two of our nation's leading newspapers began to publish reports and stories that somehow conveyed he was a victim. This man that was the perpetrator of this violence was, it's a sob story. He was more maybe a bit of a victim because post-traumatic stress and all the difficulties of the Iraq and Afghanistan war somehow brought too much pressure on an individual like this. And so we're supposed to sympathize and recognize maybe this was just something where he snapped and he's not really responsible. And who's to blame? Would it be the administration, the former administration? Could it be the Army? Or who do we look to? But this guy, let's let him off the hook. Let's be sympathetic. Well, I want you to know the facts. And here's the reality. This is not a matter of an individual that somehow was blameless. The facts are the following. This is a man that chose to enlist in the military. This is a man that was making over $100,000 a year. This man never served in the field. He never was in any type of battle. This man was a Muslim radical. This man planned it all for days. He gave the Quran. That was the first thing he did when he began to move in this direction. He prayed regularly in a mosque. This was a man that screamed, Allah is great, as he shot the individuals. This is a man that was investigated when he said he was harassed and they found nothing to it. He spoke repeatedly against America in Iraq. He should have been discharged for insubordination. He killed defenseless, innocent Americans, including a 21-year-old pregnant woman. And this man also was a liar. When he filled out a document that the Army wanted and he was asked his religious preference, you know what he said? He said he had none. He was an extreme radical Muslim. And he was only gunned down and stopped when a young lady that was on a SWAT team, God bless this young 5'4" woman, she came with a gun and she shot at him, and when he turned and started shooting at her, she kept running at him, and she was a heroine because she finally put him down, but she got 3 bullets in herself. What are we supposed to think about situations like this? Do we absolve him? Do we take the reports? The New York Times interviewed a guy that went to a mosque and said, hey, the command is responsible. If equipment breaks down in the military, you go to those that are responsible. Well, they're trying to shift blame and dodge responsibility. What are we to do? This man took a gun, and in cold-blooded ways, he destroyed the lives of many. Well, here's the end game, and I'm going to lay it on the line very clearly. With compassion and charity in heart, I share with justice. The Quran speaks of the death penalty. So does the Hebrew Christian Bible. And it's not because life is devalued or somehow not important. The death penalty is put into effect, according to the Old and New Testament, because life is elevated. And when a life is taken in cold-blooded murder, like this man did, we show and make a statement of the dignity of life by taking that man's life. So what should be done? The gospel, the good news, should be preached to him so he knows that there is forgiveness with Almighty God for even a heinous crime like this. And then, no 15 weeks of trial, no 15 to 20 years of appeals. This man should be put to death in a compassionate and quick way. We don't need to spend $1 million putting him in a prison for the rest of his life. This is what the Bible would teach. This is what the Quran would teach. And this man is personally responsible. He's not a victim. And we need to remember this in the coming days.